You know, it's interesting because I worked on this and I kind of put my heart into it. Because those were special years. I found out by sleuthing around that Gloria's relatives and the Wiese relatives and Harvey Arp and Dick Loggie's relatives and Carmen Jacobson's relatives, we all came from the very same place in what's called the Probstein, the state of Schleswig-Holstein, northern Germany next to the Baltic Sea. And so your ancestor was christened in the Schoenberg parish just like my ancestor was. They all was right there, knew one another probably over there.
Small world.
After all this time.
It's a small world.
Yes.
Small world.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Yes, actually. 1942, I got my first horse Prince, learned how to milk cows, found the special choke cherry flipper crotch, wrist rocket in today's vernacular. And boy, did we ever have a good one. You had to have 2 pieces of inner tube and a leather shoe tongue. And then on Pine Creek Bench, you had to hire people to find rocks for you to shoot them unless you went up on Stouts Mountain. But anyway, I'll tell you what happened. I did find a rock, and my dad had a window twice the size of these, 4 panes on the side of his slab shop. And I thought, I'm going to shoot that rock over that shop. But guess what? It cost me my 37 cents. I had saved my shillings pepper can for the window pane that I lost. I enjoyed winter evening skiing on a hill north of the schoolhouse. This was at Delber's uncle's place, Orla Winterfield's place, over behind the Upper Pine Creek School. And like I told Audie the other day, it was unfortunate for me where I lived because it wasn't either uphill or downhill to get to school except for walking up the stairs to get in. Some people have had pretty good stories that way, even as to putting barbed wire on their feet because they didn't have any shoes so they'd have traction on the ice, you know, that kind of stuff. I enjoyed winter evening skiing on the hill north of the schoolhouse. My teacher, Lucille Bitton, happened to be Afton Bitton's sister. She taught phonics so I could read, write, and talk, but I can't cheat down at the same time. She didn't tell us about that. The grandest show of the school year was in the winter, with the Farns kids coming to school in their toboggan-like sleigh with their tall bay horse at a gallop. They lived about 1.5 miles from school. Now I want, right here, to invite Glenn Farns to come up and tell the story about the coldest day of his life and the kindness of a good neighbor. Glenn, can you come up and do that? You all right? Glenn was 2 years ahead of me in grade school.
Yep. I might say 2 or 3 other little things besides the coldest day. My family moved to the North Pine Creek Bench in the early 1900s. And my grandparents homesteaded a piece first, and then my father homesteaded some more in 1913. Yeah, 1913. And that's where we spent, so many years. We lived up there until 1947, then we moved to Milo for better schools. And the teachers with too many grades to teach couldn't give you what you needed. I'm running out of thoughts.
Hurry up and tell your story.
The coldest day.
The story that he wants me to tell you is one day in about February 1944, I went to school one morning. Now that sounds pretty good, doesn't it? But we had a sleigh. There was 3 12-inch planks on the ground, and then Dad made sides on it that was about, around 3 feet high. And my younger brother and my older sister got down in the sleigh and with a blanket over them, and they was pretty good. I had to drive the horse. When I got to school, why, I unhooked the horse, put her in the barn, and it went into school. And Herman Winterfield, that he spoke about, looked at me and he says, "That boy's face is frozen." And he kept me away from the stove, and he rubbed hard, icy snow on his cheek for over 3 hours. And it thawed it out very slow, and I didn't have any ill effects. If I could have got to the stove, I don't know what had happened. But I was very thankful for Herman Winterfield doing that. But that morning, it wasn't too cold, 54 below. And we had 1.75 miles to go to school. So that...
You made it.
We made it. But we had a good time. We was so poor that we didn't know we was poor. But we had a good life up there. There was 9 of us that grew up in a 2-room log cabin. Trying to do that now.
Where was your cabin located?
On North Pine Creek Bench. You know where the Kershane?
Yes.
Go right straight west of it, clear to the river.
Okay.
My dad, in the early 40s, was able to purchase the stove over the cliff, and the ground that was pasture ground, that was Stoutenberg's, Herman Jessen, Herman Winterfield, our place, and my Uncle Roy Farn. And then he sold whoever had the ground above it, he sold to them. He had to pay about $1.50 for that pasture ground for each one of them parcels of ground. We had a lot of trouble with BLM because nobody ever owned anything over the cliffs. But we had the deed. So.
Thank you, Glenn. Yeah, thank you, Glenn.